My presentation is going to be over ethical leadership. To start off with, leadership is the skill to lead or guide others to a desired goal. You are the leader of your workers. A lot of people will agree that having a leader is needed for an organization to succeed. Where ethics comes into play in leadership to create an ethical culture in an organization. What is an ethical leader? An ethical leader knows how to act in an ethical way, which is important because actions speak louder than words. Always. If you act in an ethical manner, then people will follow. Ethical leader also pursues the overall importance of ethics and is also able to communicate very well. 7 strong habits of an ethical leader. Strong personal character, passion to do right, are proactive, consider all stakeholders' interests, are role models for the organization's values, transparent, actively involved in decision making, and take on a holistic view of the firm's ethical culture. Leaders who are very admired for their ethical conduct would be Warren Buffett, who promotes ethical conduct because he believes is very needed in business. You got Howard Schultz of Starbucks. Healthcare for part-time and pay college tuition is what he gave to his employees. You got Elon Musk, who is fighting climate change with his electronic cars, Tesla. And you got lastly Kip Tindall, who treats his employees with better pay, better training than the competition. Next, we got Linda Fisher's 7 practices to implementing ethical leadership into an organization. 1, we got facing the complexity of ethical decisions. 2, not distancing ethics from other business activities. 3, not allowing interpersonal negative behaviors to break trust. 4, seeing ethics beyond laws and regulations. 5, not exempting workers from expectations. 6, celebrating positive moments. And lastly, 7, understanding ethics is a long-term process. Starting off, facing the complexity of ethical decisions. Communication is key and always will be key. When making decisions, they should be openly discussed with everybody, especially when they are difficult decisions. Number 2, not separating ethics from other business activities. You can't just use ethics when things get hard or difficult decisions arise or a huge decision is to be made. Ethics has to be part of an everyday thing. It should be in everything from making a deal with a business to hiring and training to just everyday things in the workplace. 3, not allowing interpersonal negative behavior to break trust. Leaders must create a relationship that just has a lot of trust and very open communication. People are going to have different opinions on decisions or ethics. And just because they're different doesn't mean they should be looked at negative, but rather embraced so that growth and development can happen. Seeing ethics beyond laws and regulations. While ethical behavior is focusing on laws and regulations, which is good, it should be emphasized more widely around the organization. Not exempting workers from ethical expectations. In the slide before, we talked about how ethical leadership should be applied to everyday situations. Well, workers should not be exempt from that. They should be aware of the framework and they should act accordingly to it. 6, people need acknowledgments to know that they are doing right, which calls for the celebrating. Therefore, leaders need to point it out, reward the people, follow the framework, and vice versa. If they're not following it, then we have to get them back on track. This is part of leaders' proactive behavior. 7, we got understanding ethics to be long-term. A successful framework does not happen overnight. It is not easy. It is never-ending because it has to change over time. There is no quick fixes. But if you get strong ideas together and communicate and work it all together, it will work and succeed. Advantage to ethical leadership. It has a big impact on corporate culture. It gives motivation for ethical behavior. Satisfaction from workers is increased. Also, workers' commitment to their job is increased. Brings people together in a collaborative way. Disadvantages, and yes, there are disadvantages to an ethical leadership, mainly because of difficulty. Like, ethical leadership really relies on the leader's ability to connect. If they have no connection, it falls apart. Using ethics on a day-to-day basis can be rather difficult. As things get busy, you might forget. It also requires people to be consistent with the framework, which people can sometimes lose consistency, mainly because of busyness. Also, the framework has to fall in line with the organization's goals.